The 3 secrets are: 1. Believe that you can be a CXO. Secret number 2. Don't be the world's best kept secret. Secret number 3. Signal that you're ready to take on higher responsibility. I think all of us carry a responsibility to build the next generation. We've all had our time. I think there's nothing better than working with the next level of leadership so that they can give back and create a world and improve it so that it remains sustainable. And it's a great world that we give back to our children. Thank you. Hi, I'm Udit Saxena. I'm a global leadership coach. I run my own organization. It's called CXO Hive, and we work across the world with leaders from Silicon Valley to the UK to Africa, Asia. This is a show where we help leaders like you who are ambitious, who want to get ahead, who want to move from the mid-career level to actually becoming senior leaders and becoming global CXOs. I'd like to spend the next 30 years shaping and giving back to society so that by the time we all leave this world, we've probably been net givers rather than net takers. I'm accepting this award for every transformed client of mine. When are you going to stop procrastinating and taking action? When are you going to learn what it takes to get that 1 CR salary plus and a great lifestyle and a great future for your children and your dreams of becoming a global CXO, a CTO, a CIO, a CISO, whatever you want to be? Stop procrastinating and sign up quickly for this Global CXO Accelerator Summit. It's the first time in India and it's the only event like this in India. You won't find it. So click on the link below. We have leaders like Sanjay Tandon, who's coming in from Silicon Valley. We have Kalyani, who's been a Chief Accounting Officer for Sun Microsystems and Intact. We have Arvind, who's been the President of Cisco, who's got a number of patents to his name. We have Sri Krishnan, who's the CEO, and he's got here to share his story with you. We've got Ram Kumar, who's the EVP for FIS for India and Philippines. All these people are here to share their stories to help you. So stop procrastinating and sign up. Stop sitting on the fence. Change your life. Take charge. I want to see you here on May 3rd and 4th. And when you buy a 2-day pass, you could win, benefits up to 89,000. So click below. Click quickly. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're logging in from. Welcome to the world, and thank you so much for being here on a Saturday morning. You could have been doing anything else, but you're here, so thank you so much. And I'm just so proud to have Suraj here with me, who's one of our illustrious students of the CXO Accelerator program. And just so happy to have you here, Suraj. How are you doing today?
Hi, Mudit. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure being here. And also, thanks for everyone to sign in today on a Saturday and spend some time with us.
Absolutely. So let's, get ahead. And let me just ask you, tell the audience a little bit about yourself. How do they, what's so special and, your whole story. Yeah.
Sure, Mudit. Yeah, happy to share my journey. Hi all. So I'm Suraj Atreya, a global go-to-market marketing and partnerships leader with over 15 years of international experience across AI, cloud, and emerging technology. I think what's been really unique about my journey is I've been able to witness the rise of digital transformation, and the rise of AI-led growth in really driving joint up marketing, sales, revenue functions, and joint up go-to-market. And having had the opportunity to shape the narrative at world-class organizations, both enterprise listed firms and high-growth organizations, and really be an advisor and help them along in the transformation, in the go-to-market transformation, which really means bringing together marketing, revenue, products, partnerships to bring one unified revenue engine and bring in some clarity to the executive leadership. So that's been my journey. It's been a lot of learning, and I want to use this opportunity to share some of my highlights, some of the areas where I've learned from, and I hope that it can also inspire all of you in your journey, and would love to hear your thoughts and perspectives.
Great. Lots have happened, and you've been in marketing now for 15 years, right? So how have you, seen your journey evolving? What have been the pivotal moments that have shaped you into a GTM and ecosystem leader?
In fact, the first phase of my career was in the early 2010s, is when I graduated with a master's in digital marketing. And I had the opportunity to come back to India and play a wide range of global roles across B2B marketing. And that gave me a very strong foothold in understanding B2B marketing, customer personas, product marketing, solutions marketing, digital marketing, performance marketing, and entire brand and revenue engine inside of things. That experience kind of led me into my next phase, or the second part of my career, which gave me the opportunity to really get hands-on and deep dive into the way AI and cloud are changing the tech ecosystem in today's global landscape. And what that meant is, though I started off in a marketing role, but then I quickly understood that a lot of revenue, a lot of influence, a lot of enterprise-wide customer acquisition and customer sales happens through the partner, through the channel, through the distribution. And there's a lot of trust built. And then I also got some opportunities and made some opportunities for myself, wherein I could elevate my leadership to be more holistic, go-to-market. Worked very closely with some of the leading tech ecosystems today globally, be it the likes of AWS, Microsoft, Google Cloud, Salesforce, Snowflake. And I've really helped to build that trajectory and shape. So I think those were some of my pivotal moments. I was also very fortunate that in one of my previous roles, I had the experience of working very closely with the founding team. And the CEO and the founders were very passionate about ecosystem growth and using partnerships as a way to build scalable, profitable growth. So that gave me a very hands-on experience to have a seat right in the front of the table, and then take that experience and work with global organizations to help build in maturity, build in structure, build in governance and processes to actually scale this to the next level. So those have been some of my pivotal moments. And all along this, I've always taken the opportunity to learn, to upskill, to keep myself open, understand what is happening, and also find uh, mentors and folks within the organization to reach out to who have helped me to to guide me in this journey. So that has been extremely helpful as well.
Amazing, amazing, moments that have sort of really moved you, with great experiences. So thanks for sharing that, Suraj. Marketing is now, it started off, right? And it's evolved so much over the years. And tell us all, what's the real difference between go-to-market and marketing, right? And traditional marketing. And how does this distinction really matter today, especially in B2T tech companies?
A great question. And so, like you have rightly said, marketing has been there from time immemorial. Right? From if you take 100 years back, it was all about the branding through television and through mass media. And then the last 20 years, we saw a big revolution in terms of digital marketing. Started off with Google, Facebook, etc. And now it's the era of AI and GPT. But if I were to answer the question, the way I look at it is marketing is actually one function in a B2B tech organization, and that it is an important function. However, a go-to-market is something which is a growth engine. And by that, I mean it's a cross-functional layer. It spans different functions, be it marketing, be it sales, be it product, be it partnerships, and be it the executive connect, uh, to be able to guide the organization to emerging market trends and build a revenue channel which is customer focused as well as which is profitable and scalable. So if I were to give an example, so there are two approaches to look at, say, marketing, right? One approach could be we have $1 million, let's blow it up, let's do some ads and get the message out there. So that in my mind is the way marketing started, but it has a very limited connotation to it. But because then it says that we are using money as a budget to blow up some money to get some ads and awareness. But if you look at go-to-market, it's more of an integrated end-to-end system, wherein it says that instead of thinking, how do I start with the budget? Let me understand how can I drive maximum value to the customer? Which partners can I activate to drive profitable growth? And how do I align my product sales and partnerships to actually drive go-to-market and use a lot of intelligence, because the rise of AI and data has given access to a lot of ecosystem intelligence. So to give an example, if I'm working with AWS, I get so much of intelligence coming from AWS on who are their top enterprise customers, who are their top 2,000 customers they want to go for. And that makes my marketing and go-to-market engine much more targeted to talk about a very specific use case in a specific vertical in a specific geography, which makes we are turning the narrative from marketing as a budget to now marketing as an investment. And then also speak the language which the CFO understands and relates to, which is that we need X amount of investment to drive metrics, Y metrics, which could be customer acquisition costs, increased pipeline, and increased revenue, but also what is the cost per opportunity. And then the language starts shifting from a marketing language to a CEO language, and gets in that executive sponsorship, and then the board feels comfortable, the senior leadership feels comfortable, and then it becomes an integrated approach. And what I've seen in market is what is most important is for marketers or for a sales professional or for a product professional is to actually step out of that siloed functional hat, to take 3 steps back and then look at it cross-functionally and start asking the right questions. Because that's where I believe human leadership today adds a lot of value in the era of AI. How do we ask the right questions? How do we help our business teams to bring about internal clarity, internal alignment, internal trust, and get different parts of the organization rowing in the same direction? because then when all the functions are working towards a common goal, there's a shared set of metrics. That's the entire go-to-market becomes integrated and one cohesive motion, rather than saying marketing is doing XYZ tactics. The language totally changes and it becomes a business conversation. So that in my mind is the fundamental difference, how go-to-market has evolved from traditional marketing in today's era of AI and cloud.
Oh, amazing. I mean, that's quite a change, and I'm sure that's something most CEOs, CFOs would love, right? Rather than saying we want to blow up so much money, because we have the budget for it, vis-a-vis, having a business conversation. So I think that's a great, distinction you brought in, right? And at this stage, let me just, let's take a quick 15-second break before we come back again, yeah?
Sure.
Hi, have you heard of the Global CXO Accelerator Summit that's happening right here in Bengaluru on May 3rd and May 4th? What? You haven't? It's a 7-day summit, 5 days of learning online, 2 days of learning live from the world's best. We have leaders coming in from Silicon Valley, Sanjay Tandon, who's been the Global Director of Applied Materials Corporation, Kalyani, who's been the Chief Accounting Officer for Sun Microsystems. We have Sri Krishnan, who's the CEO here of Karnataka Bank and, earlier with Yes Bank. We have Ram Kumar, who's an EVP and who's been here with FIS, and he heads the India and Philippines operations. We have Pradipto, we have Arvind Sitaraman, who's been the president of Cisco earlier. Come and learn from the world's best, because they will tell you about the mistakes you made. They will tell you about what helped them succeed. Learn from leaders who've done it. Stop wasting your time, aimlessly wandering around social media. From WhatsApp University, learn from the world's best. So click on the link below. It's May 3rd and 4th. See you there. Book your early bird tickets. And when you book a 2-day pass, you could win benefits up to 89,000. See you in Bengaluru. Okay, welcome back again, and would love to see all of you who are watching this show to come to our summit, the Global CXO Accelerator Summit, and who knows, you can actually get to meet Suraj too live, so look forward to seeing all of you. Let's move on, Suraj, to how the entire evolution of this marketing and ecosystem has really happened. How has B2B marketing transformed over the years, from traditional models into the ecosystem-led approach?
So, Amudek, today there's a lot of focus on scalable growth. Right? In fact, in one of our CXO Hype sessions, we were covering this. That today, really what the board cares about is how to drive scalable, profitable growth. And what are the ways to reduce costs? Because ultimately, the investors really care about how do we increase the stock price and how do we increase the investor shareholder value. So in line with that principle, a go-to-market plays a very fundamental role, because it looks at how to drive an integrated across customer acquisition and as well as taking existing customers and where do we find the maximum value. So for example, if I am a chief revenue officer, I can take a look at my existing enterprise customers and say that what is the biggest opportunity we have to drive growth through these existing customers? Where are the areas we can upsell and cross-sell? What do the customer relationships look like? And also, which partners are we activating? How much of pipeline, how much of revenue am I generating from each of my key partners? And what are the top opportunities for our leadership team to drive the profitable growth? And then by asking these right questions, it helps to instill and co-create a very strong and robust go-to-market system. One of the quotes which I loved hearing is that today one of the key things which every enterprise needs is a go-to-market operating system. And that operating system is one which aligns leadership is one which aids in the right decision making and which also removes decision latency. Because one of the global surveys conducted made an interesting finding. It said that the number one competitor today which companies face are not other companies, are not competition, or not changing market trends. But in many cases, 58% of the survey respondents said that internal lack of clarity and lack of decision making is what is keeping them back from moving forward. So that is where the go-to-market motion really helps in identifying the right bets and then aligning all of the key levers, be it marketing, be it sales, be it product, be it partnerships, and aligning on a common set of metrics, which makes the board feel confident, which makes investors feel confident, and ultimately drives the stock price and drives a robust profitable growth in the years to come.
That's amazing insight. I mean, to be able, I think what you pointed out, right? Lack of clarity within organizations actually slows them down. In fact, I've often heard in highly political organizations, one time I had to tell the team, listen, guys, the enemy is outside, not within the company. So I think that's a very valid point that you bring out, and tell us with the change in AI and data, what's changing? How are companies now generating revenue and how are they driving demand?
That's a great question. And AI and data, especially Gen AI and agentic AI. I think last week as well, we had an episode where we covered Gen AI and agentic AI. What that is creating, the technology as such, are a lot of opportunities for organizations to really rethink how do we drive value to customers, how do we reduce cost of operation, how do we increase our profit margins. And in line with that thinking, it also is giving a lot of intelligence which helps to drive these levers. So, for example, today, as a go-to-market leader, for example, if we take the role of partnerships, earlier in the earlier day, partners were just seen as a channel or just seen as distributors. That I have a product, I need to get it out to my customers through these channel, which are a set of resellers and distributors. However, today that model has kind of evolved, where it has now grown into ISVs, SaaS players. It's grown into global system integrators, wherein there is a lot of ecosystem intelligence saying that for a specific account, what are the challenges facing? What are the buying propensity? Who are the folks who are actually making that decision? And then what is the best way to reach them? And what is that use case which is most likely going to get picked up as a POC? Because and then working backwards from the customer, keeping the customer at the center, and then working backwards through the use of AI, through the use of data. And today we have a lot of marketing tools, marketing platforms, for example, HubSpot, Salesforce, and the likes. And also we have a lot of partner platforms, which are fundamentally driven by data, AI, and ecosystem intelligence, which when used right and with the right questions, helps to pinpoint and find out who exactly do we need to target, which customer, which use case, which geography, with which partner, and how to drive that motion. Do we approach them directly? Do we approach them through a partner? What is the value proposition? And then once the customer does a proof of concept, it is then about expanding that into further adoption. Because ultimately, the metric which really kind of moves the needle to get marketing leads and revenue, but ultimately it's NRR, which is net revenue retention. But for my top 100 customers, how do I grow these 100 customers into more profitable businesses? How do I upsell? How do I cross-sell? How do I upsell? And in all of these conversations, data and AI becomes the go-to point to ask questions. And today, that's where I see the role of humans in this world. It's bringing together these systems, being able to make use of all this intelligence and data coming in, asking the right questions, and then able to fuel some of these into the right actions. And that I see is one of the big shifts happening, and especially for larger enterprises, where they're kind of grappling to find how do I do all this, right, with this complexity. And that's where it then kind of also shifts to a transformation discussion, saying that as part of a broader go-to-market transformation, what are the platforms, data, tools, the AI and the systems we need to build that solid building block, which then enables our executives and the field sellers, field teams to ask the right questions, take the right decisions, and move the business forward. So it's very interesting. And I think with the rise of agentic AI, as we're seeing, I'm sure this space is going to evolve very fast in the next couple of months and years.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think what's changed is the speed of data. You know, in the early days, I remember, a couple of decades back, we were building these data warehouses, and then finally data had to be churned and then pulled out. And I think today with generative AI also, it happens so fast and so quickly that you can actually get real-time data at very low costs. So I think that's the beauty, and I think it's a real treat today for marketers to be able to have all that to make those decisions. So amazing. While people have understood, I think we've got some idea of going to a GTM or a go-to-market strategy. Let's tell the audience a little bit about what does ecosystem-led growth really mean, right? Why is it a board level conversation today, and very important for CEOs, CMOs?
So, in fact, earlier this year, I had an opportunity to listen to Satya Nadella, who had come down to Bengaluru for the Microsoft AI tour. And one of the things he said kind of really struck a chord with me. So he said that today, there's in 2025, Microsoft is celebrating the 50th year anniversary, 50 years of Microsoft. And his one key insight is that Microsoft is primarily a platform company and a partnerships company, which means if you look at the primary value chain, it is a platform, it is partnerships, and enabling customers to move fast and deliver business outcomes. So that in my mind kind of really shows the importance of ecosystem, which is in the olden days it was I will create a product and I will ship it out. I will find customers. I will do all of the heavy lifting myself. And it was a very self-driven kind of a model, which worked well in the previous era, I would say. But now in the age, especially as technology has evolved so much, what customers are looking for is one integrated solution, which cuts across different products and different solutions. And today it's also that no organization, even they can be the size of Microsoft or Amazon or Google, may necessarily have everything as in one tech solution which the entire organization needs. And that's where the role of the ecosystem comes in. So there are specialist folks for specialist things. So like I mentioned, there is a data warehouse, there is a cloud platform, there is a data engineering, and then we need, well, for example, if you're building a house, what we do is first we buy a plot of land, and then we get a civil engineer to lay the foundations, and then there's an architect and there's an interior designer, and then the entire house gets built up. So similarly, in the model of tech ecosystems, it's about what is my cloud platform? Am I on-prem? Am I on the cloud? What does the public cloud look like? Is it a mix of hybrid cloud, multi-cloud? What is my data posture? What is the security? What do I want to do with AI and Gen AI? And hence, to be successful, it means that I need to pull together and orchestrate different partners who can come together and deliver value to the customer. Which means my role is now shifting from I do it all to am I orchestrating the right ecosystem to deliver maximum value to the customer. So that's the slight shift in the mindset, which is of doing it all versus orchestrating an ecosystem to ultimately add value to the customer. And then it's a continuous learning process because as you know, every day and every month there are new technologies and the existing technologies also gets updates. So that ecosystem then plays a role in driving customer success and also adoption within customers to identify more and more use cases and to build more value for the customer, which ultimately means more revenue, both for me as an organization and for the partners who win. So ultimately, if I were to look back, it is Satya Nadella said it very well. He said that we all come together as an ecosystem and as partners to win together. Because when Microsoft wins, is when the partners win, is when customers win. And when enterprises win, it's ultimately the societies win and the governments win. So it's also in line with, let's say, India's growth vision. Right? So if India has to grow holistically, that means to take a level down, enterprises, organizations of all size need to grow. And for that, an ecosystem, a vibrant ecosystem, spanning product, technology, partners, distribution, etc., is very vital to build a robust growth economy, not just for companies, but also for economies like India, etc., to grow and shine in this world.
Amazing, amazing. So I see that it's a partnership, right, that helps people and organizations grow. So That's an amazing insight. So let me ask you at this stage, Suraj, we have a great partnership. You're part of, the CXO Hive, global community, or, you're part of the Quantum Group. How has this program really helped you?
So, Mudit, the CXO Accelerator program has helped me in multiple ways. Um, some of them have been to look back and reassess and realign my own goals in terms of where am I currently and what do I want to reach. And it is that clarity. So we just spoke about how organizations need clarity at an organization level, but all of us as individuals, as professionals today, we also need that clarity in our own career growth and our career journey. So I've been able to get a lot of clarity and then take steps, take the right actions to able to build on that and make sure that the actions I'm executing are in line with the 12-month goal, with the 3-year goal, with the 5-year goal, and so on. So I think that has been my biggest takeaway. The second takeaway has also been the strength and the power of this community. So we have professionals from a wide range of industries, many of them who are experts in data science, experts in agentic AI, experts in manufacturing and across sectors. Also, we have CFOs as part of this community. So that gives a very differentiated and a unique perspective in understanding how different individuals and how different senior executives are thinking about solving challenges. And it helps to build the community in for mid-career professionals on the phase of growth to really get together and move forward. I would say in both of these areas, it's been very beneficial. And of course, you as a mentor take a lot of individual attention and invest your own knowledge and career success in guiding folks through their journey, which is also very valuable. So yeah, multiple avenues and so still part of this program and lots more to learn.
Okay. Thanks so much, Suraj, for your very kind words. And you mentioned it all, right? It's all about partnership. We have a global community, people from all over the world. We have people from different, different parts of an organization, right? So we have people from IT, we have people from finance, we have people from marketing, from product, all of that. And I think when all of us work together, then I think there's a great impact for everybody. So thank you so much for sharing your journey. And at this point, let's just take a small break and we'll get back in 15 seconds. Hi. Do you want to know how leaders who were born, bred in India have made it finally globally on that stage? Do you want to learn the secrets that might have helped Sundar Pichai or Satya Nadella really get up right there to becoming global heads of organizations? If you want to learn all that, then you better learn from global leaders. We have Sanjay Tandon coming in from Silicon Valley. We have Kalyani, who's been the Chief Accounting Officer for Sun Microsystems. We have Sri Krishnan, who's the CEO here in Karnataka Bank. We have Ram Kumar, who's been here as the head of FIS for India and Philippines. We have so many leaders right here who will share their stories, give you tips. So you need to sign up quickly for May 3rd and May 4th, which is the Global CXO Accelerator Summit. And it's happening right here in Bengaluru. So wherever you are, whichever city, book your tickets and see you here because we're going to have a 7-day event, 5 days online and 2 days live. And when you book your 2-day pass, you could win gifts up to 89,000. So click on the link below and I'll see you there. Okay, welcome back everybody as we get on with our lovely interview with Suraj, who's a real, he's made his mark in GTM marketing as a global leader. So let's get on, Suraj. And the next question I have for you is, traditionally people look at marketing as, influence, about awareness, about brand, all those traditional, ways of looking at things. But tell me, what separates a real marketing engine from, influence and perception to one that truly drives pipeline and revenue?
great question, Mudit. And so I believe the key differentiator for marketing to really move up and get a seat at the executive table, first of all, alignment, very strong internal alignment and clarity, and then being uh, having the reporting framework wherein it speaks the language of the business. So, for example, instead of going to the CEO and reporting, I've got X number of marketing leads or I have Y number of impressions from an ad campaign, which may make very little sense to a CEO. When the language shifts to this is the revenue which has been influenced, this is the revenue which has been sourced. And also today, a lot of revenue comes in through the partners, through the ecosystem. So hence, what is the ecosystem influence on the revenue, ecosystem influence on pipeline? And ultimately, what does the margins look like? And in my mind, marketing is really about brand. It's a brand and strategic storytelling. It's a narrative. So how do we tie in this narrative to ultimately impact margins? Because what the CEO really cares about is what is the top line, what's the bottom line, and then what is the margins. So if by translating the language and elevating the language of the, the conversation to talk about top line, bottom line, and margins and make that a C-level conversation. So that's when I see marketing gets a seat at the table. It's seen as a strategic function, and it's seen as an orchestrator. And today I've also read some very interesting articles from the Wall Street Journal and Harvard Business School, which says that the role of the CMO is actually moving from a chief marketing officer to a chief market officer. And what they mean by that is in today's digital world, a really successful CMO is one who's able to time market trends, what customers really want, where partners are moving, and bring all of this and act as an internal cross-functional leader, cross-functional champion with sales, with revenue, with product, with solutions, with pre-sales, etc., and drive a very strong integrated go-to-market. Build a story, and then also make sure that the story is communicated effectively through the partner ecosystem, ultimately reaching the customers, because that's where the value is created. And I've seen that through my journey, there have been these conversations. So what function within marketing needs to be more important? Is it product marketing, which is defining narratives and stories, or is it digital marketing, or is it partner marketing? And in my opinion, all of these need to be aligned and integrated, because the story which let's say a product marketing team or a solutions marketing team is creating, the campaigns and the narratives, ultimately they need to be tied in to the message which goes out to the partners in the ecosystem, which is where partner marketing comes in to activate some of these motions in the field and to recognize that revenue in the field through co-marketing, co-selling, co-integrating. And just to add one other layer here is actually ecosystem now has kind of made the differentiator to, rather than just marketing and promotions, to looking at the entire engine, which actually starts with co-innovation and co-creation. So I, as an organization with my partners, what are the solutions which I can create and co-create? And then how do I co-market? And ultimately, how do I co-sell to realize revenue and to realize value to customers together? And if you take any major tech organization, this has been their growth playbook. If you look at Snowflake, look at Salesforce, look at AWS, or even look at something like a Canva, which is design software. But actually, Canva has been able to activate their partner ecosystem intelligently in a way such that AI is able to scale some of these narratives. So in my mind, it is storytelling and scale. Storytelling, which is a human element, and then scaling that storytelling through partner, through the ecosystem to drive value to customers as an integrated GTM motion. And CMO being able to orchestrate all of this and then really think of himself or herself as a chief market officer and be that advisor to the CEO and to the board in terms of where investments need to be made and how do we align them with customer priorities.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, Chief Market Officer, I think that's a new one that I'll take away, from just being a marketing officer, right? So that's amazing. Fantastic. Now you talk so much about, partnerships, etc., and, AI, right? So tell me, how can marketing use, let's say AI, data, ecosystems, and, become a cross-functional growth multiplier, right? Beyond just brand and demand gen. What are your views on this?
So I believe for this, the top-down alignment is absolutely crucial. And then my advice to marketing leaders would be find the executive sponsor. It could be the chief executive officer, it could be the CRO, it could be ultimately the person who has to report to the board as to the business health metrics, and build that partnership, because that partnership in my mind is absolutely crucial to get the sponsorship, to uh, to be able to then tie in the marketing campaigns, be it events, be it conferences, be it digital campaigns, be it webinars and podcasts. So all of these are marketing execution channels. But how do these marketing execution channels then tie up to the C level and the board agenda? And that's where a lot of internal alignment is needed, and where now marketing leaders need to maybe take the external hat off for a bit and wear in a new hat, the internal hat, and say, how do I build those relationships? How do I uh, build the language of market and marketing to my key stakeholders? And how do I take people along my journey, along the journey? So the way I view it is that it's more than marketing execution. It's how to build that culture within and take stakeholders along, which is the broader transformation play. And what seems to work in my experience is having one-on-one dedicated sessions, having workshops with the key leaders, etc., and really get that buy-in in terms of what good looks like and where we need to move the ship together, and then start activating those things. So there's a lot of work to be done before the execution begins, and that's where the real marketing leaders, in my opinion, stand out in building that internal alignment. And one of the reasons why a program like this is so effective is building visibility, building brand, building recognition, speaking the language which business stakeholders care about, are some of the things which are not generally taught in MBA schools. Right? When you learn MBA marketing or any MBA program, these are the skills which may not necessarily be taught. It's the hard skills. But after a certain point, to really move to a strategic go-to-market function, it is these skills which becomes absolutely important in terms of visibility, branding, internal alignment, clarity, and then taking stakeholders along and keeping people informed. Proactive communication is absolutely crucial. Understanding what stakeholders' priorities are, understanding what are the concerns of stakeholders, and proactively addressing them, and ultimately having the right scorecard in terms of a common set of metrics, which the business leaders can really understand and relate to, rather than just being marketing vanity metrics, which is number of ads and number of impressions. So I think all of these things kind of really go hand in hand to building the marketing leadership and GTM leadership within an enterprise.
Super stuff. So I think it's getting, more and more, the takeaway is how do we, integrate AI, data, and the different elements of marketing to finally have a go-to-market strategy, right? But there's still talk, right? There's what, is, or let's just put it this way. Why is the alignment between product marketing and partner marketing becoming make or break for GTM strategy?
So I've seen in my experience that especially in a global matrix organization, there could be a central product marketing team, and they're coming out with, let's say, typical campaigns, value propositions, narratives, etc. And the partner marketing team, which is closest to the customer and the partners, aren't necessarily able to activate some of that content and some of the campaigns and messaging. And many times there is a disconnect because of the nature of the business, because of the matrix organization, etc. So hence it becomes very important for different functions, especially product marketing and partner marketing, which is delivering messaging, delivering value, delivering propositions to customers and partners, to be locked together, hand in hand, and speak the same language to customers as well as to partner ecosystem, and make sure those the propositions and the messaging are extremely relevant for a specific use case and a specific vertical. And so that when the campaigns are executed, be it events, be it digital campaigns, be it thought leadership, etc., is then where you see the maximum return on investment, ROI, and then able to tie in again, we bringing it back to the language of the CFO as to how marketing helped move the needle through different activities, and what is the return on investment for the business, and how do we then take this and then reinvest back into the business for growth, and using AI and data to help guide the decision making.
Super. That's amazing. I mean, everybody has to, it's like, I guess parts of an orchestra, right? Everybody has to play its part, but then it all has to come together to finally deliver to the market. I think that's a great takeaway that I'm going to take away from this insight. And before we move on to the next, section, let's just take a little break and come back.
Hi, Bangalore. This is Sanjay Tandon from beautiful Silicon Valley. Looking forward to being there at the May 3rd and 4th CXO Summit with Dr. Mudit Saxena. I'll be sharing tips and tricks of how to be successful in your professional life. So be there.
Okay, so we've had a preview of Sanjay. Lovely, if you had noticed his lovely home in Silicon Valley, and he's waiting to come here, and hopefully a lot of you will get to meet him on May 3rd and May 4th at our summit. So look forward having you guys all there. And as we get on, right, let's move on to tell me with all your experience, right, what advice would you give to someone in the marketing function, right, who's more into execution and who wants to transform into senior leadership roles, right, and probably influence at the CEO board level? What advice would you have for somebody like that?
Say, for somebody who's currently in the execution phase of marketing, there are 3-4 things which the individual or the professional can do. But the first one is really to understand, how does my organization make money? How does my company make money? And what is it that my CEO and senior leadership really care about? Because that understanding is absolutely crucial before taking the next step. Once that information is well thought through, then the question becomes, how do I develop some ideas and in line with current marketing execution, propose new ideas, for example, which could be of interest to senior stakeholders. How can I find an executive sponsor whom I can bounce these ideas off? And also, how can I look at my team enabling this, and for us as a team to show a strong return on investment on this initiative. So in many ways, it's about reframing the conversation, and then thinking about, how do I build value to my internal stakeholders, and how do I become more visible, and opportunities to get into discussions and meetings with the product organization, with the sales organization. If possible, would really encourage to join one of the weekly sales meetings, because a lot of revenue and opportunities gets discussed, and as to what customers are saying on the ground. And having, if you're able to join the monthly product session, really understand what does the product roadmap look like, and what are customers and partners talking about product innovation and product adoption. And all of these things actually in a way tie back to marketing. And then being able to take all of this data intelligence and make some smart moves. I would also perhaps recommend to use some amount of AI or GenAI or ChatGPT to also get some ideas as to what are those quick wins and use cases to help build internal capability and then move forward in the organization.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you keep, I think most conversations now revolve around AI, right? And the use of it. But tell me, a lot of ways marketing can now be automated, right? So what's the balance, let's just put it, between AI and, the unique human interaction and edge? What's the balance for you?
With the rise of AI, a lot of tasks, for example, content creation, a lot of these things can be automated. And where I see the human adding value is really the human element. For example, things like empathy, understanding internal, external stakeholders, bringing people together in the journey of go-to-market and talking their shared language. These are things which I believe a human is best in a position to do, because it's really about empathy, understanding the human element, storytelling, and these are fundamental human skills which we as humans can build our skills and excel on. Whereas we can then use AI to do the execution tasks. So, for example, if I want a blog post, I can, with the help of AI, give it some keywords and get a blog post ready. If I want a white paper, if I want a content piece, so all of those execution tasks is where I can use AI. But ultimately, the to represent the business, bring stakeholders along, understanding conflicting priorities and prioritize that, and really be the voice of reason and understand human beings. Because ultimately, the key decision makers in organizations are still human beings. The CEO is still a human, CEO is still a human. The board are still humans, and aligning all of that human narrative, bringing empathy, and having one-on-one conversations is where a marketing leader or go-to-market leader or any business leader today can bring a lot of value. And while I say that, it's also important to keep in mind and leverage some of the areas where AI can be very helpful, and being able to track that in a dashboard and say that we were able to implement AI in getting operational efficiency, for example, across 10, 15, 20 activities, which resulted in cost savings, which resulted in enhancing our own internal marketing operations, internal business operations, and taking that scorecard back to to the board is really important, because that then ties the value of how we are using AI to drive productivity, to drive scale, and the human element where humans are leading empathy, human conversations, and stakeholder alignment.
Amazing. I mean, really a good balance that's needed, right, between automation and human intervention. Because I think what's important is to actually build that right balance, and we don't lose the flavor and the communication, because at the end of the day, human beings connect with emotion, and so I think that's a great. Let's go. Look, I'm going to give you a crystal ball, right, and I want you to look ahead 5 to 10 years, right? What's going to be the future of GTM and marketing, right? What should leaders really aspire for? What should they be getting ready for?
So one thing is certain is there is going to be a lot of uncertainty, because it's very hard to predict in 2025 what 2030 looks like. Because we all know that in 2025 itself, there is so much of innovation happening with the rise of agentic AI, and with the way companies are able to use AI to leverage operations and data insights. But what I would say is, from a 5 to 10 year horizon, to really work on the basics. What as humans and as business leaders, where can we drive value? It's and really build on those skills, which are ultimately simple things but very important. So communication skills, stakeholder alignment, building visibility, building influence, keeping a lookout for the latest technology, adopting a technology to help each of us do our works better, enabling our business teams to use AI responsibly, in a way such that AI is actually helping a lot in the business operations perspective. And we just keep very strong focus on what really sets us apart as humans. And forums like this, like the CXO High Forum, which really helps to further strengthen the human skills, the leadership skills in this new era, is what I think is going to be extremely important. But don't focus so much on execution, because execution can be done by focus on the big picture, focus on connecting the dots, focus on understanding the key business priorities from the board, from the leadership, and then translating these down into actions, and leverage both humans and technology to generate. However, just make sure that the AI is being used is responsible, ethical, and trustworthy, so as to not get into legal and compliance problems, because that's a big headache, right? We wouldn't want to save 100 million by using AI and ultimately get sued by the US court for $1 billion in terms of violations and compliance. So I think that balance is very important. The governance layer, I think, is where humans can add a lot of value. By governance, I mean making sure the right systems are in use, making sure the humans and the AI have access to the right set of tasks, and also limiting what visibility, which different teams and which the AI has, to then have a very strong governance structure to be able to move the. That's where I see a lot of value being still, where we definitely need humans and we need smart intelligence and we need the human empathy to play a strong part.
Okay, great. So we've looked into the future, and what we'll do is we'll just take a short break and come back and get to know you a little better personally. Right? Do you want to build a network of leaders who can get you your next job? Do you want to meet with managing directors, presidents, chief accounting officers, global directors, people who have made it in life, people who have achieved the heights in corporate success? Well, if that's the network you want to bring, then I'm going to encourage you to sign up for our Global CXO Accelerator Masterclass, which is going to happen on May 3rd and May 4th. But you know what? It's actually a 7-day program. 5 days is online and 2 days live in Bangalore. So sign up below and I'll see you there at the summit. Hi, I'm Mudit Saxena. I'm a global CXO leadership coach. I help leaders like you get to 1 CR plus salaries on their way to becoming a global CXO. So I can't wait to meet you there because I brought this masterclass so that you can succeed. So if you want to succeed, sign up below and I'll see you there. Okay, welcome back. And, I think people have been listening to you around the world for so long. Maybe they'd like to know a little bit about you. So tell us, what do you do outside of work? How do you recharge, find inspiration? What do you want to do?
So outside of work, I think what keeps me active are things like community, conversations, meeting people one-on-one. I'm active in the local community. I'm a chapter leader for an international organization called Partnership Leaders, one of the pioneering members in the India chapter, and host meetups quite often for people in India and Bangalore to come and meet up and talk about topics like go-to-market, partnerships, and ecosystem growth. So that kind of keeps me recharged. It also helps me build my network and understand from industry practitioners as to the latest trends in the space. I also like to spend time with my family. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and she I've discovered is extremely assertive and learning a lot of, I think, human skills by interacting with her, and also just amazed by the kind of intelligence and the kind of questions which she's able to ask at such a young age. Otherwise, I like to go on long walks, spend time with nature, and meet up with people one-on-one. So these are some of the things which I like to.
Super, super. So let's look ahead. I gave you a crystal ball for business. What about looking ahead for your future? What do you aspire to do and, make in the world?
In terms of my own professional aspirations, I would say I'm focused on two things, which is service and then scale. What I mean by that is, by service, I mean, how do I help more and more global organizations realize the value from ecosystem growth through marketing, through partnerships, through revenue, and having that conversation and advising senior leaders on what strong go-to-market looks like and help building out that engine. So that's on the service part of it. On this scale part of it, we want to give back a lot more to the community, to be more active in mentoring, talking to youngsters, sharing my thoughts, sharing my perspectives. Because some of the things is I've learned some things through the hard way, which I've learned through failures as well. And I would love to share some of my thoughts and learning opportunities through forums like this podcast, and I will also reach out to more youngsters and generally help people who are thinking about how to move ahead in terms of GTM leadership and marketing leadership and what it takes. So open to having conversations and discussions. Anyone listening in through this podcast, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and happy to spend some time.
Great advice. But tell me, as you get older, one of the things like you said, you learned many things the hard way, and some of it just comes through experience, right? That's what life is for all of us. So if there was one piece of advice you want to give your younger self, what would it be?
One piece of advice to give my younger self, that's a very, very interesting question. I would definitely want to tell my younger self, take action, take more and more action at an early stage. Because ultimately, it's only by taking action that we can move forward in our professional careers and build growth for ourselves. The second thing I would like to tell my younger self is that I'm not just a marketing leader. I'm a emerging growth architect. I'm an emerging global leader. And to build in these affirmations at an early age, which helps to also realize that these things as part of our professional journey. And to also, I would say, to raise hands and volunteer to take on new opportunities and build cross-functional relationships, find mentors within the organization, find mentors outside who can help in career growth, as well as overall sounding board for your professional aspirations. So these are some of the things I'd love to tell my younger self if I were to look back.
Superb. I think there's some pearls of wisdom there which all of us can take, right? But there's some things one just learns with life, isn't it? And it's always good to learn from other people's experience as well as your own. So great words for everybody. And before we move on to the Q&A, I thought we'll just take a short break and then, we'll come right back. So I'm going to encourage everybody to put your questions in the chat box so we can ask Suraj.
Hi, this is Sanjay Tandon from beautiful Silicon Valley. Kalyani and I are looking forward to being there in Bangalore on May 3rd and 4th at the CXO Summit with Dr. Mudit Saxena. We'll be sharing tips and tricks on how to be successful in your professional career. So be there.
Great. So many of you may not know Kalyani was the chief accounting officer for Sun Microsystems, and she's going to be coming down and speaking to all of you. So just imagine, right, to listen to a CXO at that level of a company like Sun Microsystems in the head office. There's so much she's going to share with you guys. So if you haven't signed up already, I'm going to encourage you to do the same because the link is in the chat. And so I'm happy to answer any questions that may be there for even the event.
So Mudit, can I ask you a question about the event?
For sure.
So it sounds very interesting. 2 days live in person. I was wondering, do the attendees also have an opportunity for in-person networking amongst other attendees and with the speakers? I think.
Yeah. So great. Let me just share with you. It's not just 2 days, right? It's a 7-day transformation journey to begin with. So we, starting from Monday onwards, we're going to be doing live classes every evening between 8:30 and 9:30. So an hour of learning before we come to the 2-day event. And of course, at the event, there's lots of opportunity for networking because I really believe your next job very often comes from the network, right? So in my opinion, in the business world, your network is your net worth, okay? Just because that is what, gets you information, that is what gets you to the next level. And fundamentally, after that, I'm giving, for those who have signed up for the 2 days, I'm actually giving away my entire blueprint course, which is worth 99,999 plus GST free. And I'm doing this simply, like I told you guys before, it's my 60th birthday month. And, it's my time to give back and contribute. So for just the price of 2 tickets, you get not only 7 days, you get, another 3 months of live training, and it's lifetime access. So you can keep coming back, whenever you want. So that's a lot of value over there.
Sounds great. Thanks, man.
So finally, let's take questions, and I can see here, let me take the first one. Rakesh is asking, what metrics do you evaluate for GTM strategy effectiveness across different organizations you worked with?
I can take up that question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I would say there's no cookie cutter approach to this, because it really depends on the type of organization, which industry, and what is the operating model in terms of how does that company make money, what value are they giving to customers. But in terms of my experience of how I have looked at go-to-market metrics are from a sales and GTM perspective. It's about revenue, it's about influence, our pipeline, and focused more on ICP, which is ideal customer profile. Because ultimately the pipeline which needs to come in through my GTM efforts has to be ICP fit pipeline. Am I attracting the right set of prospective customers with the right decision-making criteria and with the right buying power? So ICP fit pipeline, and then how much of that is ICP fit revenue? And cost per opportunity is something which is really very, very important today, because you can end up spending millions of dollars on marketing campaigns, but ultimately it is what is the cost per opportunity, what is the average deal size, and what is the influence on the business metric. These are some crucial questions. From a expansion standpoint, also I would say some GTM metrics are for NRR, the net revenue retention, amongst our top 50, top 100 customers. How many customers are we able to retain, and how much of revenue are we able to generate from them? How do I make strategic use of my install base? My install base is top priority existing customers. How do I activate my partner channel ecosystem? What is the cost per opportunity coming in through the partner ecosystem? Which are my top 3 partners, and what are the co-selling and co-marketing motions which I need to drive through them? And ultimately, from a customer success perspective, it's about adoption. So if I'm selling a new product or a new software solution, ultimately at the customer side, what does the adoption look like? How many end users are using that? What is the percentage growth in adoption over a monthly basis or a quarterly basis? And what has been the growth of the account from a customer success standpoint? Because in terms of expansion is where a lot of opportunities get missed out, because people are still so focused on the acquisition engine. Get leads, convert. And there is lesser focus on, once we have existing customers, how do you use that for upsell, cross-sell motion, and drive in adoption, and then keep growing that account, and also bring in the right set of ecosystem partners to help grow in that existing account. So those are some very holistic GTM metrics. But again, this would depending on the specific business model and the specific market you're looking to get into.
Great.
I hope that's helpful.
The company also, right? At what stage they're growing?
At what stage, yes. And I wanted to add, so if it's a very early stage startup, most likely they're in the problem market fit, which means the founding team is trying to identify what is the problem which my tech solution or product or my SaaS solution can solve to the market. So that's the problem market fit. And a slightly higher stage is, let's say, once there is the Series A funding and it's on the growth trajectory, it then becomes a product market fit, that I know exactly what problem I'm solving, but how do I take my product and how do I make use of partnerships, make use of integration, and what is really my product go-to-market strategy? So what is the product market fit? And at an enterprise level, for example, companies which are publicly listed, large enterprises, so they're really looking at platform market fit. So now I am thinking of as an entire platform, and what all can I offer to my end customers, which is a mix of solutions, products, partners, etc., to enable platform market fit. So companies like AWS, Microsoft, Google, they're all in the final stage, which is platform market fit. and early stage startups are in problem market fit. Growth companies are most likely in the middle stage, which is a product market fit. And each stage asks for relooking at the GTM engine, asking relevant questions, and then framing the right metrics to be able to take the company along as part of the GTM group.
Okay, that's amazing. And Mahesh is asking something on, how is, with disruption happening due to AI, what do you see happening to the evolution of GTM strategy? I think you touched upon it, but maybe you can just reinforce that.
I think Mahesh's question is around evolution of GTM strategy, given the disruption happening due to AI. Yes, Mahesh, very relevant question. And like we've been covering, data AI has been growing rapidly, which means that the traditional models of go-to-market has now been completely disrupted. And that's where it calls for two, three things. The first one, being aware of what is changing outside, being aware of the AI landscape and what it means from a customer, from an ecosystem perspective. And then second thing is also to be able to have very agile operating principles as an organization in terms of getting this continuous learning and saying that what changes do I need to make in terms of businesses, in terms of operating model, in terms of go-to-market systems to realign with the changes which is happening in the market. And the third thing is, how do I scale effectively? How do I use partners, distributors, channel, and take my solutions to more relevant customers? How do I increase share of customer, voice of customer, customer lifetime value, and then align on all these metrics? So yes, the world of AI is changing rapidly, and that's what I think is making this entire go-to-market operating system so much more relevant and very exciting in the days.
Thank you, Suraj. Thanks for.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So let me see. There's a question from Anima on, what do you need to do daily, weekly, monthly to keep getting noticed at work? That your work is not, what do you do, Suraj?
Sure. In terms of the rituals, I think having a set of daily rituals as an individual is very important. For example, waking up on time, having personal affirmations, the top three goals and objectives for the day. And from a professional work perspective, identifying what is that key thing which is on top of my mind for my reporting manager, for my leadership team, and how do I align my activities and my schedule for the day to align with that. I think that has been the biggest learning for me, because at the start of my career, I used to take a book out and just list all the activities which I had to accomplish in a specific day, which were just activities, and they were not aligned to stakeholder needs and priorities of the business. And later on, when I changed that model to, I want to align with the top priorities which my business leadership is facing, which my immediate manager wants to accomplish, and help them accomplish their goals. That's when I get recognized. Ultimately, people want to recognize individuals in the organization who help them achieve their goals. So whom do I align with in the organization? How can I make that senior leader or my own reporting manager be successful in their roles? For them to be act as catalysts and help to bring the positive message across the org. So I think those are some of the things. And then third thing, what I've found effectively is today there are a lot of virtual channels. For example, there are Teams groups, etc., on different topics. So I take some time out to contribute a couple of articles and thought pieces, or just share what I've noticed on these different forums. So for example, there's a tech and AI forum, and maybe there's an interesting Gartner report which has come out, which is interesting to the tech community. May not be directly related to my line of work, but it helps me to get visibility in front of those stakeholders. And similarly, if there is a go-to-market group, what are some of the go-to-market principles which other organizations are leveraging effectively? So share some news and some articles and information. What are the market trends? And keep sharing, because it really helps to build, I think, digital presence through these internal Teams groups or Slack channels and groups to raise visibility to global cross-functional stakeholders, whom otherwise we may not have a chance to connect with one another.
Yep, great ideas and great implementation. Batishta, let me try and answer this question of yours. I'm not sure if Suraj would want to attempt that. Uh, See, Badisha, you need to take on more responsibility. What other things can you do in your steel sector, right? In terms of, because people who get promoted are those who demonstrate that they're ready for the next level. So how can you, if you're a manager of planning and procurement, right? So your metrics would probably be, how do you differentiate yourself? By saving costs or by delivering faster, or finding multiple vendors so that there's no. So think through in your area what you can do, and maybe that's what's going to help you. Yeah. And I think any other marketing related questions? Bhairavi, I see you've got a question. I think you're coming for the summit. We'll have a good conversation on that. Okay. Because we do a lot of that in our program itself. Yeah. Okay, so Shiv Yaragati, who's another one who's coming in, what role will pricing play in the product, and what role does GTM play?
So, Shiv, I would say there are multiple questions in your question. Pricing is important, but really, I would say it's like this, right? You may want to spend 1 crore on a BMW, but not invest 10 lakh in a Maruti. That's an example which I picked up from Udit sir. But what it kind of says is pricing is actually value perception. And there are different teams which ultimately input on pricing. The product team plays a very important role in determining what is the price. But there are also the marketing and go-to-market engine, which makes sure that there is the right value perception and that the customer sees that the product or service is being priced appropriately. Because when somebody is willing to pay more, so that means there is a strong value perception, and automatically that means for the business there are higher margins, which is great for the CEO, because the CEO wants to increase margins. The way to increase margins is to get the pricing right, and pricing itself is quite a complex topic, because today it's not just listing prices on a website. In enterprise go to market, there are multiple tiers of pricing depending on which market you cater to, which geography, and then there's also a pricing for the partner ecosystem, for the channel ecosystem. So it's a more complex question, but I would focus on the value perception, make sure the value perception of pricing is right by getting the go-to-market marketing engine well thought through, so that customers are seeing ROI. When customers think about ROI in their minds and they feel that they're getting a 10x on their investment, so that's when they will sign up a check. So I would keep that as the guiding principle, and then think about pricing and value perception. I believe there was an additional question which says what role GTM plays. Yeah, now GTM is a more holistic cross-functional activity or a program, and so value perception and pricing are core things to what the GTM leadership would decide on, which says that what is the value to the customer, uh, what is the value perception ROI in the minds of the customer, and how much are they willing to pay, and then what does margins look like, and what should be the right pricing. In some cases, I've seen in enterprise engagements, uh, landing into new accounts are actually funded by the partner ecosystem. So let's say big players with deep pockets, like an AWS, Microsoft. So they have partner programs and funding incentives, which actually make it free for the customer. The first use case is paid for by these big partners, and then the for the customer it's a zero value POC, which means it's like a free engagement. And when they start realizing value, that's when the customer pays up with a dollar investment. So, and all these are part of GTM, right? Pricing, perception of pricing, and how to activate different pricing mechanisms. And there are different funding and incentive programs through partner and tech ecosystem players. How to leverage all this and bring value to customer to get the foot in the door, and then play the expansion role to grow within that account. It's a great question, and I would say it's a very interesting topic.
Okay, thanks so much. I think we've covered a lot today. And I think there's one last question here, a couple of last questions I see. So Shivam Prem is saying, being a sales leader, how can we leverage AI-driven insights to optimize our GTM sales strategy, enhance engagement, and drive revenue growth?
So, Shubham, a lot of opportunities are there, but ultimately it's about going back and asking the right questions. So once you're clear as to what are the questions you want to ask, you can then look at leveraging market insights and AI. So for example, the questions that you put in the chat, you have a specific use case, you can actually take that to chat GPT and say, give me some ideas, how I can optimize my GTM sales strategy. And it can throw up some ideas. But that is just in the ideation stage. And it's really about then prioritizing what makes sense cross-functionally for the CEO and the go-to-market leadership, and prioritizing them in a way such that the revenue recognition is in line with the broader corporate strategy, and the sales motion. Because today, keep in mind that there are two ways to grow in the sales organization. One is you can have a direct sales channel, hire say 50, 100 salespeople in different customer geographies, and they help grow the business. There is also a second model which is gaining a lot of traction, which is how do we leverage ecosystem partners as an extension of our own internal sales team and use that network to activate sales and distribution in newer markets in newer geographies. And today, enterprises are leveraging both of these motions, the direct sales motion and the co-sell motion with partners to ultimately reach out to more ICP fit customers and drive profitable growth. A lot of ways AI can help, but I think it's about fine-tuning the use case and using AI to get some ideas and then discussing them with your senior leaders and seeing what makes the needle take the leadership in the organization.
Okay, great. So we'll just take the last question from Ajay for the day, which is, what should be the GTM if we are launching a product which is yet to find product market fit? As well, it should end up making a new sector. How to validate if the idea would be a fit? The larger question.
Yeah. So we recently, a couple of minutes back, we spoke about the three phases of go-to-market maturity. The first phase is the problem market fit, and then product market fit, and then platform market fit. So for early stage startups who are identifying problem market fit, there are multiple ways they can go about it. One way to do is identify a couple of use cases and then run quick experiments. Because in today's age, where it's easy to get feedback and leverage AI, so pick up 2-3 use cases, run experiments with prospective customers, and ask for their feedback in real time. And that's when we get insights from a product perspective as to what problem statement could resonate best, and for what problem statement people will actually take out their wallet and invest hard dollars in. It's a cycle of constant iteration, and then apart from talking to prospective customers, it also makes sense to identify who are the ecosystem players. So, for example, there could be advisory people in the industry. There could be prospective partners. So it makes sense to take that use case to them and get their feedback as to what they see as the fitment and how interesting is it. Does it solve the problem? Ultimately, at the problem market fit, we are just looking at, does the identified product or solution really solve the customer's problem? And is that problem large enough? Because you don't want to solve a problem where only one customer pays, right? Because then you'll not be able to sign checks and pay your employee's salary. You have to find a problem which there are hundreds or at least a large customer base who have a similar problem and who really want to solve that problem at this stage in time. And that's where intelligent experiment, iteration, use of AI, and talking to prospective customers, partners, and industry leaders can help to arrive at what could be those use cases. And it's all about experimentation and continuous improvement to keep iterating.
Superb. Suraj, I think we're almost at the top of the hour, and I didn't realize we've done almost 1.5 hours. So I think let's call it a close now. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to the show. And I'm sure all of you have had a great time. Until we meet again with another bright student from the community, goodbye and take care. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you all at the event on May 3rd and May 4th. Don't miss it. It's going to be game changing. You're going to be listening to world leaders, people coming down from Silicon Valley, people, who are CEOs in India, and, both men and women leaders. So all the best and see you there soon. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thanks, Mudit. Thanks all. Look forward to seeing you.
Bye-bye.